are now streaming. Let me make sure. Put it on my laptop. All right, so that's all set. Let's take a look at the DMM that we have for this morning. Okay, so there's a tremendous amount of news. That lends itself well to trap trades because when there's a lot of different news, you generally don't get a move in just one direction. More often than not, all the news will not agree in terms of being positive, bullish, or negative, bearish. Okay? So we do have a bracket breakout on the NQ, completely inconsistent. Yes, Arthur, we're on YouTube streaming. Completely inconsistent, but I will trade the trap trade, try and make back the money on this account that I lost money with Goldman and Morgan this morning because the earnings are unreliable. And we know that. So setting up a trap trade, it's an 8:30 event. So it's going to be 8:29:55. The stop is 25. And this is not a cash trade, my friends. This is not a cash trade. Okay? If you're going to trade cash on difficult reports, the thing to do is reverse continuations and or magnets. That's the way to trade cash on reports that are inconsistent. Then you can grab a scalp or you grab a magnet. That makes total sense. But it doesn't make sense to trade when there is inconsistent traps or inconsistent breakouts. So keep that in mind. That's the right way to do it. 20 and 45 on our tiers. All right, 20 and 45 on the tiers. Yeah, if I ever say we're streaming, Arthur, we're streaming on YouTube. We're not on Twitch yet. We probably should go on Twitch, in all seriousness. Labeling it GC Trap. You should be on every platform. I should try to do some streaming on Facebook and see how that goes. Go live on Facebook. I'm going to trade in the account that I'm down on this morning. See if we get a good trap. We can make some money back on that account. So we'll apply it and okay it. Now, I like gold for magnets this morning. Gold is great for magnets. Look, you're in the middle of the high, which is a double magnet because you have also
Conde Canadian PM's office, Canada's PM
also
Connie Smith, China's President Xi
the
at 11
6
a.m. on
p.m.
Thursday.
open, and you have the low of the day. Francis, what's a good call? What's a good call? All right. So, a couple of different interesting magnets. You've got the PP is a potential magnet. 16 or $10 away from the PP. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. $10 away. The PP and the VWAP are actually good magnets on this trade. Gold is so volatile, though, that looking for the highs and lows is actually fine. It's okay also. But if you wanted to target the VWAP or the PP in the version you're using, you have to use custom level. And then if you want to target the PP, you type in 4626. If you want to target the VWAP, you type in 4608. In the new version, they automatically get targeted because they're major pivots and we added auto targeting to major pivots. All right. So all I was saying, Roz, is that I don't recommend trading cash on this trade. It's inconsistent. It doesn't offer the greatest opportunity. Scalp or magnets is the way I would trade cash on inconsistent reports. I'm going to set up a gold magnet on this trade because we could get a pretty big move. And remember, you can move your orders. Going high of day, low of day gives you the most flexibility, even in the new version. Let me show you why. Going high of day, low of day magnet. Now I have the trap. I'm trading the trap. That's my trade. But just to show everybody the magnet. So if you choose high of day, low of day, proximity 5 for argument's sake, all right? Position 1 is a 1 and the first target is -3. Let's say you just trade one contract, full size gold, 35 tick stop, all right? And you can trade micro gold on this also. So I've set up a one position magnet with a default exit 3 ticks before it gets to the high or 3 ticks before it gets to the low. That's what target 1 -3 means. Offset 3 ticks before it gets to the high or the low. We're choosing the high of day, low of day magnet. All right, I'll choose the account I want to trade it in. And I'll label it. All right, GC magnet. So that will be labeled GC magnet. Apply it and OK it. And what happens when you put a magnet trade on? Make sure you're on the right account. When you turn on the magnet, it gives you your high of day, low of day orders. The heavy line, that's my entry. All right. My exit is the green line 3 ticks before I get to the magnet. If you want to see your entry long and your entry short, hover over the magnet entry button. Okay. I'm using a
So
35
reminder,
stop
we're shortly
on the
expecting the
full
Canadian housing
size.
starts annualized forecast of 260K prior to
My
254 for 1K.
sell is 87.10 if it goes to the low. And my target is 84.80. That's a nice profit. And then on the upside, I'm buying at 33.60 for a target of 36.90. Also a nice profit. So if gold has a big move, then you have a potential magnet. What if you want to test the PP? In the old version, all you got to do is move your entry before you get to the PP. If you absolutely want the PP, turn off short by clicking it. All right, turn off short. And that will test the PP. Just be aware your target might have to be moved if you get filled. All right, that's an easy way to target the PP instead of the high of day. You want to target S1 or the VWAP, because you're going down to the VWAP, use your short order down below to target your VWAP. So if you don't feel like dealing with all the custom level typing in levels, you can fake out the software using the high of day, low of day setup. All right. Very easy to target different areas. Very easy. So I'm going to trade the trap just because I want to. And I'm going to put a reverse continue on the chart also. But I fully accept the fact that this is an inconsistent trade. Sometimes it works. Excuse me. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm not trading it funded. I'm trading it in an eval. And that's how I would do it. I wouldn't take a serious, great funded account and trade this event. I just don't think it's worth the risk. My funded, I'm really trying to succeed with the funded accounts. I'm trying to succeed with everything. But when you have prop accounts and when you trade news, you should try to have two accounts at least. One account for trading everything risky, and one account for the best of the best, right?
According to the Wall Street Journal, US
That's not a
forces
bad
seize
way
a
to do it.
sixth oil tanker.
So on my reverse continue, just one position, looking for a 30 tick target, 30 tick stop, discretionary trade. Gonna label it. Every trade gets a label. Reverse
Further
GC
detail into this
continue.
sent from the Wall Street Journal. U.S. forces boarded the sixth oil tank on Thursday morning, according to people familiar with the matter, after seizing a fifth tanker in the
Account
waters near
33.
Venezuela late last week.
Same account as the trap. All right, I'll make sure the trap is on 33. Apply it, okay it. Let's turn everything on. So we have our trap. All right, trap is on. And our regular reverse continue is ready to go. Then the NQ, and you can certainly use MNQ on this. You could target the VWAP, right, as an NQ magnet trade. Put on a reverse continue, okay? On every chart, I put a reverse continue. So I'll just use one contract. We'll do a 40 tick target. We'll do a 40 tick stop, NQ on this, not M, NQ. I got to figure out what accounts I can trade. I have some seriously damaged accounts. Right now, I'm only trading discretionary on the NQ. Let me look at my accounts. Label it MNQ, NQ, reverse continue. NQ, reverse continue. Apply it, okay it. Let me see where I can trade. I think I have to reset my
So
31.
now two U.S. officials saying that,
Looks
so
like
according to
29
sources here,
is pretty
the U.S.
healthy.
has seized
I
Venezuela
think
linked
29
tank
is
ahead of
pretty
Machado
healthy.
Trump meeting.
Let's put it
As a
on
reminder, Trump
29
is
this
supposed to be
morning.
having a meeting with Venezuela's Machado later on
So
today
we have our
at
reverse
12:30 p.m. Eastern
continue
Time.
on the NQ.
10 minutes away from the bottom of the hour, we get the initial jobless claims for the week.
And
Forecast
I'm just not
215K
interested
prior to 208K,
in trading
with a
a
range of
breakout
235K
on
to
the NQ. It could
199K.
work,
Continued jobless claims
but it's
forecast
inconsistent. So
1.897 million prior 1.914 million, with a range of
I'm not that
1.93 million to
interested.
1.87
Yeah, I saw they
million.
grabbed another tanker.
Also at the bottom of the hour, we get the US Philly Fed Business Index prior minus 1.35, prior minus, forecast minus 1.35, prior minus 10.2. New York Fed Manufacturing forecast 1, prior minus 3.9.
Now on the
Canadian manufacturing
NQ,
sales month
if
on month
you're
forecast minus
interested in
1.1%,
trading a
prior
VWAP
minus
magnet,
1%.
the way you would set it up,
Also, we get US import prices month on month forecast minus
strategy,
0.2%, prior
magnet,
0%. And US export prices month to month forecast is 0%
you would
unchanged
do
from
a
prior. At the
custom
same time, we're
level.
also expecting to hear
You
from
guys would
Fed's
do a
Goolsbee,
custom
who's due
level.
to speak on
And the
CNBC.
VWAP is 25711. That's what you would type in. 25711. And then you have a target one. How many ticks do you want? Position one is a one. How many tick target? Maybe a 20 tick target, right? And choose your stop, maybe a 35 tick stop. But you got to type in the level
According to
and then
key
move your
Republican
order line
Hill, they say
where
Fed
you
and
want
House
to
is
get
working on a
filled.
date
So
of
if I was
Powell's
going to
semi-annual
target
testimony.
the VWAP, right? The VWAP would be a short from where we are now. So there's no market There might have been market structure hours and hours ago, but no, because we've been making new highs this morning. So we don't have market structure down at the VWAP. Probably not going to get there. Why does it not necessarily make great sense to trade it? Because the NQ is very bullish today at the moment, and it's been making new highs all morning. Right? If you look at the NQ, if you go back, it's been making new highs nonstop. New highs, new highs, new highs, new highs. Probably not getting down to the VWAP until maybe the open. Maybe the open. So you might want to target R1. Target R1. That would be, if you're going to trade a magnet, that's a real possibility. So you would target 25884. That would be your level that you type in at custom level. 25884. Then when you turn on the trade, you're going to get a heavy line, an order line, right around that level. So drop that order line down because your entry is going to be coming up to it. Coming up to it. Okay? That's not a bad magnet. Now I can target R1 automatically with the new software. The way the software would do it. Turn on the magnet, and this is why we label our trades. You got to label this NQ magnet, right? NQ. If I were going to trade it, so I go up to the top. For me, remember what I said, you're going to choose a custom level 25884. I have R1 built in. So I still choose custom level, okay? And then I choose how many contracts, what's my target. But in the new version, am I targeting in ticks or am I targeting R1? I'm targeting R1. I'm targeting R1. Here's my target. R1 is my target. So I want to exit, a couple of ticks before it usually, right? I'm targeting R1 and
If I missed it,
negative
we get the
3
initial jobless claims data
is my
forecast
offset. Target
215K prior
tick,
208K. US continued jobless claims
target tick
forecast
offset.
1.897
It's going to
million
be
prior
negative 3.
1.914 million.
And I'm just trading one
Canadian wholesale
position.
sales
I
month
don't
on
have
month
to do
forecast
anything else.
0.1%,
I'm
unchanged from
targeting
prior. US Philly Fed
R1.
Business Index forecast -1.35
Let's
prior
see if it works.
-10.2.
See if it works properly.
It just
So I
seeing
don't
here
need to do
Amazon
anything
LEO
else.
satellites to
All
be
right?
launched by Arianespace
I don't
on
need to
February
do
12th.
anything else except make sure I've chosen the software. All right? Apply it. Okay it. Turn it on. My order system will work. My signal system will start working. I'm getting signals. I usually have high of day, low of day signals always on. You can choose them, what signals you want
Just a reminder, we're
inside the
expected to hear from Fed
software.
Scoresby speaking on CNBC.
There's high of day, low of day signals, VWAP signals, or ARS, the whole signal system always on. Where did he move it to? Where did he move my signals? Hold on. Let's find them. High of day, aftershock reversal, high of day, low of day signals, VWAP signals. Most of the time, I watch just the high of day, low of day. If I'm targeting the VWAP, then I'll make sure that my VWAP signals are on. And I can also change the color of my signals. So now when I turn the magnet on, my color is different. And I can also control everything from the control panel. I can do everything from the control panel. Now, because I'm testing the software, I'm just going to leave it the way it is.
AM Eastern Time.
If we go to the R1
at the Metro Atlanta chamber, no text is expected, but there is Q&A from the audience.
Now, what worries me, I am a little bit worried that he doesn't have it right. I'll tell you why. Because that he made a mistake. Then this is why I'm testing. My target shouldn't be 25,590. That doesn't make sense. First of all, I do want a long only. I'm nowhere near 25,590. All right. I see what he did. I have my order line. All right, so I forgot something. When I target, I still need to put my order in. All right, so I'm targeting the R1. So where's my order entry? If I didn't realize he did it that way. Now it makes sense. Here's my entry before I get to R1. All right, I'm targeting R1. Where am I entering before I get there? I see what he did. All right, so I want to enter
December 9th. Last down
before
about
I get
21%.
to R1.
1 minute to go.
So
now
I'm
we'll leave it with
entering
the US initial jobless
at
claims.
80, 880, and I'm exiting about 16 ticks after that. All right. And I'm going to put it on automatic. Let's see if it works. But I'm really trading the trap. Okay. Really trading the trap. So let's see how it goes. If the NQ
10 seconds.
bursts up, it
Order
should
submitted.
fill. Okay, let me manage my trap trade.
Order canceled.
Okay, gold got filled. There's a lot of news that's not out yet. So it probably will be pretty choppy. It'll probably be pretty choppy.
Still waiting for initial jobless, but whilst we wait
The
for
jobless
that,
numbers are
European
not out
manufacturing
yet.
coming in at 7.7, 7.7.
Okay, they're coming out now.
Forecast of 1. US Philly Fed Business Index 12.6, 12.6, higher than forecast of minus 1.35.
So
Canadian
now
manufacturing sales minus 1.2%, minus 1.2% lower than forecast of
I
minus
can move my
1.1%.
first target
US import prices month for
little
month,
bit
0.4%,
closer.
0.4%, higher than
Very,
forecast,
very,
minus
we have a
0.2%.
lot of mixed
Export
news.
prices for the
We're
US
filled with
0.5%,
one position
0.5%
so
higher than
far.
forecast of 0%.
One position so far.
Still waiting on the
I am putting
initial
my
jobless
stop
claims
under
data.
S1.
Order
Okay,
filled.
we're filled on the second position. Second position is filled. Remember what I said, this is a trap trade
Seeing prior
that
revision
has
coming
not
through
been
from
working
European
that great.
manufacturing at
If we
minus
get a
3.7
reversal
compared to the
in
original
gold,
prior of minus
I'd like to take a
3.9.
profit somewhere near the VWAP. Very choppy. I don't like the behavior. I don't like the fact that we're
Initial jobless-
also
initial
super
jobless claims,
negative,
198K,
super negative on gold.
198K, lower than the
Super
forecast
negative
of
on gold.
215K, prior revised to 207K.
So I think the
Continued
odds of
jobless
this
claims,
trade failing are
1.884
great.
million,
Order canceled.
1.884
So that
million,
trade,
higher,
another
lower than
trap
forecast
trade
of
that just did not
1.897
work.
million.
Another
Prior
trap
revised to
that didn't work.
1.903
Now the
million from the original prior of
MNQ went up to the high,
1.914
didn't
million.
fill,
Should see a little bit of
and
movement
gave a
towards the
short
upside
signal.
on the
It
dollar
gave a
index off the
short
back of
signal,
the
which is pretty
slightly delayed
interesting.
initial jobless claims
Pretty
data.
interesting. But what did I say about this report? This is a report. If you're trading it, you have to think real hard about why you're doing it because it's completely inconsistent. The news came out completely inconsistent, but look what happened with the news. All of it was very positive. What happens with very
Interesting. Trading
positive?
wholesale sales month
It
to month
filled
coming in at minus 1.8%,
short,
minus 1.8% lower than
and
forecast
gold
of
already was
0.1%.
very strongly
Again,
short,
the initial jobless
so it
claims
just
data
kept going
was
down.
delayed
It
by
kept going
maybe a
down, and we
minute,
did not get a
coming in lower than
reversal,
expected at
and that
198k
ruined the
compared to the
trap.
expected
It ruined the trap.
215k.
It went
Prior
through it
revised to
and ruined it.
207k from the original
But
prior
what
of
did I say?
208k.
This is an
Seeing
inconsistent
treasuries extend
report
declines after
that I'm not
unexpected
interested
jobless
in
claims
trading
drop.
it for real. All right? This is testing trading. Not interested in trading it for real. Now, if the NQ goes up to our order, I want to see
Also a reminder,
if we
in about
get
3 minutes time we're
get a
expected to hear from
proper
Fed's
fill here.
Bostic speaking at the delivering
We're
remarks
long
at the
only
Metro
on
Atlanta
our
chamber.
magnet.
Trying to
Long
find a
only
video
on the
for him.
magnet.
There isn't one
Most of
as
the
of yet. We'll
news
keep looking.
looks pretty
No
good.
text is
It
expected.
looks pretty
There's
good.
only Q&A to be expected.
Jobless claims
And a
are
reminder,
lower than
Feds
expected.
Goolsbee is supposed to be speaking on CNBC at
Empire
around this time.
State, very positive. Philly Fed.
We have
There's
posted
no
out the New York Fed
forecast on
manufacturing
Philly
report for
Fed, so I'm
January
not sure
2026
about
on
Philly
feed
Fed.
323.
But overall, you've got positive news. We should continue up. Well, it's hard to say. We may not continue up on the NQ because it's been making new high after new high. So there is
Order
some risk.
submitted.
We got our fill. The trade worked perfectly. I need a bigger stop. And our target is R1. If we get to R1, we'll get a profit. That was our target, R1. All right. It's definitely
Order filled.
bingo. All right. So we got 19 ticks. 19 ticks to make R1. So a good magnet. Now, I would put the magnet back on. It's off, which is what happens usually after a winning trade. And now we'll just continue to get signals. I would probably be willing to take a short because it's made multiple new highs.
Nasdaq 100 futures
It's
extend
risky.
pre-market gain to
If it
1%.
decides to keep going up, it could ruin your trade.
Order submitted.
Now gold looks like it wants to test the low. So I'll see if I can help this account. The NQ, if I get a signal short after making all these new highs, I'll take a shot. I'll take a shot.
And Feds Causeway has begun speaking on CNBC.
It's one contract. It's a little bit, it is risky because the market is very bullish. So maybe I won't, in all honesty. It might be a little bit too risky to take a short right now. The news was so good. There was so much good news. Might be better off waiting.
We have also posted out
Right.
the U.S. import
Graybeard,
and export
what's
prices.
up?
Feds Causeway says
I may
I'm
just
not
take the
surprised by
signal
low
just
claims
because
data.
the signal will
Also,
generate.
we have posted out the Philly Fed Business Index report for January 2026 as well. Again, Feds Causeway on CNBC
Now we are going to go
says
over
that
to
I'm not
oil
surprised
in
by
a
low
few
claims
minutes.
data, and data points to stability in the job market.
Very soon. So I was going for a scalp on gold to see if we could get a test of the low. It's pretty far away though. We've had a fairly significant move down from the news. The question is, will it continue? That's the question. Gold's due for a sell-off day. It's due for a sell-off day.
Causby says there is still strength in jobs and overall growth is good. So reminder, Causby is not a voter this year.
Goolsbee is talking, the Fed president. President Goolsby. Goolsby. What a goofy name. So gold is moving down. You could move your stop to safety, break even, right? Plus a tick. See if it'll test that low. Now I would probably start to trail with
Goolsby
gold.
says that the most important
If it
thing facing the
continues
Fed
down,
is the need to get
I'll
inflation
trail.
back to 2%.
Now the NQ, I'm tempted to go over to gold, right? I mean oil. We do have an oil trade. Gold trying to push down, trailing a little bit. I don't want to trail so much that it takes me out of the trade. There we go.
Goolsby says rates can still go down a fair amount, but we need firm evidence of inflation retreat.
Gold's so choppy. You could see the way it's moving. It's pretty choppy. It's going to take me out with about a $200 profit.
Order filled.
So, and I've really done damage to that account with the trap trade. There's your
Goolsby
signal.
says
I
I
didn't
expect
get
to
a
see Fed
signal
rate
yet.
cuts this year,
I would
but
hope
I
there
need
would
data
be
to
a
affirm the outlook.
signal when the bar closes.
Again,
So
says
gold,
we
look what
need
it did.
data
It
to
gave
affirm
us a
outlook.
nice about $200, and then it changed direction. So I've got to get rid of gold for now, and I've got to go over to oil because that's why we're here. All right.
Goolsby says the best
So
thing
done
about
with
recent
gold.
inflation data shows the possible
Going
waning
over
of
to
tariff
oil.
impact.
Let me get rid of those setups.
Goolsby says service
Remember what I said
inflation
about
is
the
not yet under
NQ?
control.
It's struggling to reverse because it's so bullish. Might make sense. It's making a lot of highs. It made a lot of highs. We don't have a signal yet because the bar isn't closed. I hope we get a signal when the bar closes. Putting oil, CL, oil has rolled. All right, oil is now 03.26. Oil has rolled. Beautiful. The programmer fixed almost all the signal problems. But look, you're getting, if you use the setup the way we have it set up, where the bar shows the color before it closes, it keeps you safer. It keeps you safer, okay? In other words, there's two settings on the squeeze. One where the color stays the same until the bar closes, and another setting where it changes color until it closes. But that kept you from taking that short. It's not done making highs. Now we have a filter, a special filter that I have to go through the manual to understand how it works. So I'm going to make a note to use today's NQ to test the new filter. So bear with me. NQ 830. All right. Let's start talking about oil. I'm done with the NQ at the moment. I guess I'm just going to watch it. I like doing the YM in the morning. So looking at oil, let's go back to oil. Oil is below 60. Oil is below 60. Incredible. It was above 62 yesterday. Significant, tremendous volatility we're starting to see now in oil. You have to think a little bit about not trying to outthink this market. Now, also, a tanker was grabbed half an hour ago. That's bullish, possibly, for the price of oil, right? Looking at the price of oil on a 15-minute chart, I'm going to look at a 20-minute, I guess a 30-minute chart. So oil gave up the ghost before a little bit before
Morgan
4
Stanley CEO Pick says 2026 starts
p.m.
with
yesterday.
tailwinds
What
of
happened
easing
at the
monetary
close
policy,
with
and the
oil
macro
yesterday?
backdrop is
Anybody?
complicated.
I was not watching the markets then. So that was before the market closed yesterday. Oil had a
Fed's Goolsbee says
gigantic
growth is solid.
sell-off. Really, really big. It was at a new high. It went to the new low. And in 1 minute, no, I take that back. It was 30 minutes. This is a 30-minute candle. 30-minute candle. So in 30 minutes, it sold off $2.62. What happened? Did anybody see that? What was the tweet, Arthur? What was the tweet? I was not watching the markets at that time. I didn't see it. I would have to say that oil is pretty bearish today, even with the tanker. Even with the tanker. If you look at a 5-minute chart, it's pretty darn bearish. Pretty darn bearish. All right. So our oil trade, I do believe we're going to vet it this weekend, but our oil trade has really been struggling all week for almost 2 weeks now. Since the beginning of the new year, our oil trade has been struggling. Francis has a nice setup with a 30-tick stop and one contract. My oil funded account is in a bit of trouble. It's in a bit of trouble. It's still over 50, but I need to check its liquidation. I need to check its liquidation. I need to know
CME
where it
Brokers
has to
to
get
expand
to
crypto derivatives suite.
if it shuts down, if I lose it. In other words, when an account goes up, the drawdown moves up and it doesn't go back to the $2,500 based on a $50,000 account. Do you understand that, everybody? So you have to load your trader dashboard in our trader, and you have to look for your liquidation price. Auto
Fed's
liquidate,
Bostic
and you
says
can
I
move
expect
that
to see
over.
GDP growth north of 2% this year. Fed's Bostic speaking again. There's no live video available for him, but he's speaking at the Metro
You
Atlanta
can
Chamber.
move that
This
over.
is in his Q&A.
So you don't have this gigantic idiotic chart in this idiotic program. Auto liquidate on my funded account is 49,389. Hang on. $49,389. I hope I'm right about that. So I've still got plenty of room. Got plenty of room. And if you go all the way to the right, you can see if you've actually blown any accounts. It shows you if you've blown any accounts. All right. And if you
Bostic
need to
says, I expect
reset them,
inflation pressures
or
will
if you want to
continue through
wait
this year.
until your billing takes place. If you wait until your billing takes place, you don't have to pay to reset them. All right. Now the NQ finally got 2 bars in a row, but none of the sells have been safe, right? It has not been safe to take a sell. Has not been safe.
Bostic says many businesses are still incorporating tariffs into prices.
All right. I'm done on the NQ this morning. We're starting fresh, like a normal morning. I'm putting the YM up. YM 0326. All right. And first things first, I'll put a reverse continue on the YM.
Fed's Bostic says inflation pressures go far beyond tariffs.
Reverse
such as
continue
medical.
on the YM. And I'll look for a 35 tick target and a 35 tick stop. All right, that's a discretionary trade on the YM. Label it YM, reverse continue. And we're on account number 29 on that. Let's make sure we're on the right account. So I'll put the software on 29. So we have a reverse continue on the YM. All right. I will set up a magnet, high of day, low of day on the YM also for our market open. What's interesting, the high of day, low of day is a double magnet on the low of day for the PP. It's a double pull. Double pull. I like that. The markets are somewhat bullish, I guess, this morning, though.
Bostic
You
says
could
labor
say.
market is not that tight today, but it's not loose.
I will put a magnet YM on, high of day, low of day. Proximity is 5. Position 1 is -3 on the target. Position 2 is a 1. We'll go to 15 on the target. 15 ticks through the magnet. We'll do a 50 tick stop. All right. High of day, low of day signals is on.
Finland's defense ministry say they will send 2 liaison officers to
And
Greenland
I'm going to label it
exploring training activities.
YM magnet. And I'm trading it in the same account. So apply it, okay it. All right, we have our magnet. on the
S&P
YM.
500 futures and
My
Nasdaq 100 futures near
orders
session highs. Nasdaq futures last up 1.09%.
below where we were at the market open last evening. If it goes up for a new high of day, remember, if you want to target the VWAP, you can bring your order down and do a VWAP. All right, I'm going to target the high of day, low of day, because we're going to work on oil, and I'm going to turn it in auto mode. So let's see what happens on the YM. I don't need my news at the moment. We will, the next news that we're going to look at, investing.com, will be natural gas. All right, so we can leave it here. And now we have our oil trade to put on. So I'm going to put the account on that I trade oil, my funded oil account. Is oil going to make another new low? It just barely almost tested the low here. I would consider that a test because it was so the price was 01, the low is 99. 2 ticks from the low is the low. Okay, that's a valid test. Okay, that is a valid test. Right? To me, it is with my rules. So I'm going to put a reverse continue on oil, a possible scalp trade. Change the breakout to a reverse continue. One contract, 20 tick target, 20 tick stop. That's our oil trade. Label it reverse CL continue. And we're trading that in our funded account. We usually don't take a scalp sometimes. All right, that's our first trade for oil. Then I'm setting up. I'm not overjoyed with the way our regular oil trade has been behaving. Yesterday we got target one. All right, we did get target one. I'm going to trade it normally this morning and tomorrow, but we are vetting it over the weekend. We will be reevaluating our setup on the oil open. All right. Our current trade is a range trade.
Fed
It's a
Scoresby.
range trade. And I'm going to load my template. And I'll go over the trade. Oil new open range is the name of the template. Oil new open range. Right click it, rename it today's date. Today's the 15th. When you load it, it saves it. So it's a range trade. We end the range at 90040. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1, target 1 is 8, target 2 is 20. The stop has to be at least a 20. Francis has been using a 30 with great success. So I will reserve judgment on increasing the stop. Target of 8, target of 20, BE minus 4 if it hits my first target. Trading it in the funded account. We're starting the range at 859, one tick above the range, one tick below the range. Show the range graphics on chart. End the range 90040. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1, target 1 is 8, target 2 is 20, and the stop right now is 20. Apply it, okay it, turn it on. So the question is oil going to reverse? Has it gone down as much as it can?
Fed's Bostic says
Possible,
we need to stay restrictive because inflation is too high.
especially with the tanker being grabbed. So now Bostic is talking. We need to stay restrictive because inflation is too high. Anyone who thinks inflation isn't through the roof and out of control is not living in reality. They're just living in a fantasy world. There's not a single thing except for the price of gas at the pump that's cheaper today than before 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months ago. Everything we buy is through the roof. Food through the roof. Utility bills through the roof. Everything through the roof. The NQ still hasn't pulled back. All right, so now our range is starting to draw. All right. It's certainly possible oil changes direction on the open. It's certainly possible.
Effective Fed funds rate 3.64% January 14th, unchanged from January
Here comes
13th.
the open. 9 o'clock is the open. Big burst up. I don't know if I'm going to trade it with this big of a range. It's a pretty big range. 15, it's a 16 tick range. 16 tick range more. I'd like to see, our orders are going to go on the chart. We're probably going to get a long fill. Probably going to get a long fill. So we need it to follow through if that's the case. Now,
Order submitted.
I think right now it's going to pop up and we'll get our fill. I'm letting it trade. It is a big
Order
range,
submitted.
bigger than normal. But I am going to move my stop below the range. I am worried about a test of the low. That's the worry. And that's a serious concern on this trade this morning. It's a serious worry. Now, right now, the signals are still in our favor. This is my worry, that we're going to test the low Again, that's the worry. And it's a real concern. Got my eye a little bit on the YM there. It's not near the fill yet. We've definitely been struggling with oil. Even the NQ opens have been a little bit tough. NQ's been a little bit more difficult. Everything's been a little bit more difficult. It's been a tough trading week. YM is pretty much just chopping around there. And I think oil is struggling to follow through. It's definitely struggling to follow through. There's nothing, in all honesty, there's nothing I like about the oil trade. I mean, oil's down so much today. It's just, I can't believe I let it trade long. Now, the oil open was a rare breakout that would have filled you long, and you might have gotten, I don't know, maybe could have gotten a few ticks out of it. But I think oil is, unfortunately, we're really going to struggle to push up, I think. Now the signal is working against us. And very possibly this morning might have been a morning to try to outthink it. We'll see. I'd be absolutely shocked if it works. Just watching, folks. I'm going to have to get ready for the MNQ very shortly. I'm going to duplicate my YM chart because I'm going to need a NQ chart. And I'm going to move my YM chart over. Just making room for the NQ open. Changing that chart to MNQ 0326. Now the MNQ did eventually pull back, but it would have been very difficult to figure out which short to take, right? And it did give you about 50 ticks. 50 ticks were available. All right. So on the MNQ open, I've got a reverse continue. I'll put on a reverse continue. Just one. And we'll go for a 40 tick target. We have a 75 tick stop. That's our market open funded MNQ account. And we'll label that MNQ reverse continue. Apply it and OK it. So we have our reverse continue for the NQ. And then I'm going to put my breakout trade on the MNQ also. Now the MNQ just keeps making new highs. New high after new high after new high. Right click, click News Trader. I'm going to load my template for the market open. MNQ new open is what we called it. MNQ new open, right click it, date it today.
Putin says Russia and Saudi cooperation in OPEC Plus
Load
helps
it.
to stabilize the oil market.
So we're going to activate the trade at 9:29.59. We have a 40 bracket. Choose the number of contracts you're trading. I have a target of 30 and 100. 30 and 100. And the stop is 125. I'm going to go to break even minus 10 if it hits the first target. I'm going to put the time on 0. It's already labeled breakout NQ open. Putting the time on 0 just for a moment. With the software in Sim. Charts in Sim. I want to see how the bracket
Order submitted.
is for trade management.
Order
Right now we're
canceled.
entering under the high. I'd like to see the price pull back a lot before the open. I'd like to see a nice size pullback before the open. That will help us if it decides to go up. There will be room on the upside. I don't want New highs being made before the open. 929.59 on the activation. Bracket of 40. Stop of 125. All right, choose your targets. Trading it in our market open funded account. Put the chart trader on that account. And our MNQ is ready. Turn it on. All right, so MNQ is ready. We have a reversal and a breakout. YM, you're getting that VWAP test. Oil trying to not be a loser. Maybe oil will go to the VWAP. Maybe it'll go to the VWAP. I'd be perfectly happy if it just tests the first target on a day like today when it's so negative. It's definitely struggling to continue up. Now, yesterday, the 925 trade seemed to work pretty well on the NQ. But we don't really have a setup for it yet. So that's another thing we're going to work on this weekend. So there's a couple of different things we need to work on. The oil open, the NQ 925, right? So we still have quite a bit of time before the open. And I'm absolutely certain I should have taken my profit when we had the opportunity 2 minutes ago. And now I have cold coffee. The YM is pretty far from the highs and lows. So the VWAP really was probably a good magnet to trade. Because look, it worked beautifully. The VWAP was perfect. All right. We're just waiting. We have 15 minutes until the open. The NQ finally did a good sell-off. It did two, really. It did two. At about 850, a little bit before 850. It did a decent sell-off. Then it went back, made another new high. Went back for another new high. And then so it made the high here. And it might not have given very good signals because you had bars that were up and a bar that was down. it might have given a signal on this fourth red bar, the second red bar after the new high. Now, no signal system is perfect. As long as you know when a signal has a possibility of being generated, you can still take a trade. You don't have to wait. Signals are not 100% infallible, right? So there are times when you might take one on your own, and that would not be the end of the world. Now, on the YM, you do have R1 as a possible magnet, right? Oil is not looking great because we do have negative signals. I think I'm very worried that I didn't take that opportunity 5 minutes ago. But you know, psychologically, when it starts going up, you go, "Oh, okay. I'll wait. I'll wait. It's gonna surprise us." All right, so we're really just waiting and watching, as the Moody Blues would say, watching and waiting. Watching and waiting. There's only one Moody Blue left, Justin Hayward. Mike Pinder is gone, Mellotron player. Ray Thomas is gone, the flute player. Graham Edge is gone, the drummer. And John Lodge passed away about 6 months ago. He wrote, "I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band," John Lodge. And he was touring. He was perfectly healthy. I guess as healthy as you can be at 80. But he just died suddenly. Look at the NQ, MNQ making another high. I never really liked that song, "I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band." There's no question that Justin Hayward was their greatest songwriter. I mean, he wrote all the big ones. Nights in White Satin, Tuesday Afternoon, Watching and Waiting. I wonder who wrote I Know You're Out There Somewhere. Not sure who wrote that one. I know you're out there somewhere, somewhere, somewhere. I know you're out there somewhere. That was a good song. Mike Pinder wrote a couple of songs. He wrote some of their Timothy Leary's dead. No, 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 he's outside looking in. Timothy Leary's dead. He wrote that one, I'm pretty sure. Justin Hayward still tours. He tours with a guy named Mike Dawes. Mike Dawes is an absolutely virtuoso guitar player who also has his own internet career, kind of. Um, but they also tour with a woman, Julie something, who plays keyboards and sings, and they tour with a flute player. No drums. No drums. And for whatever reason, him and John Lodge would not work together for many, many years at the end. So I don't know if they were angry at each other, that it never really was said. But John Lodge toured a lot, and he toured as the Moody Blues. Well, he toured as John Lodge of the Moody Blues. Justin Hayward doesn't tour and never toured as the Moody Blues. And there's a lot of video, a lot of concert footage of Justin Hayward. And it's very good. He's very good. I love him. The only thing I can't stand is sometimes he does that vocal affectation, where he does, what song does it really come out in? Instead of just singing, he just goes, isn't life strange? A turn of the page. And sometimes he takes that idiotic vocal affectation into other songs. I don't like that at all. Just sing normally. And there goes our frickin' oil trade frick. Had the opportunity to get out of that filthy, filthy trade. That filthy trade. I'm so angry at myself. But I'll tell you something. I'm not stopped yet, but I'm not moving my stop because that low of the day is too much of a magnet. The stop's big enough. It's going to hit the low. If it hits the low, if it stops me out, I'm taking a short for a test of the low. It probably should be closed out, to be honest. There is a new Peter Gabriel song. It is spectacular. I never was a fanatical Peter Gabriel fan. However, if you don't love, don't give up. And if Don't Give Up isn't one of the most appropriate songs for our lives today, then you're not alive. But he has a new song that is so, I think it is fantastic. Fantastic. And like I said, I was never a fanatical Peter Gabriel fan. I love him. He has incredible musical integrity. And what do I mean by musical integrity? He doesn't sell out. He does what he believes. And he sticks to what he believes. He doesn't play for the money. He does it for the art. And it's obvious in all his music. But his new song is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Watching the NQ to see about that 925 trade. I mean, the Peter Gabriel song, it's so creative and so beautifully written. The lyrics are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And the production is beyond belief. And it's called, what's it called? He has a new record, Been Undone. Been Undone. Everybody listen to it. It is it's spectacular as far as I'm concerned. Takes a little getting used to. You got to listen a few times. It's called Been Undone.
According to sources, Trump administration is weighing range of 5.2 to 5.6 billion
I mean,
gallons of bio-based
Soulberry
diesel
Hill.
volumes versus a
How
proposed
can you not
5.6 billion
love
gallons. So the
Peter
Trump
Gabriel?
administration is expected
He
to drop
has
plan to
aged
penalize imports of
really,
renewable
really
fuels
well.
and renewable fuel feedstocks.
And for an old guy, a legacy artist, he's making really great music. Really great music. Now, that's another interesting story. Why don't Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins have anything to do with each other anymore? You know, they were in one of the greatest bands. Genesis was a great band. I like Phil Collins also. He was very commercial, different. Now, see, there's a difference. I don't think that Phil Collins doesn't have musical integrity, but if you rate musical integrity on a scale, Peter Gabriel's a 10 and Phil Collins is a 6.5 or a 7, which is still good. I mean, I don't think Phil Collins is a sellout. You know, David Lee Roth is a sellout. He'll tour even though he can't sing. He's a joke. You know, he's a joke. No integrity whatsoever. He doesn't even sing. It's been shown that he's playing tapes. But Peter Gabriel, man, this new song, I can't stop listening to it. Well, you know, Frank, Eric Clapton lost a son. I think anyone who's lost a child will never, ever be happy. It's impossible to be truly happy ever again if you lose a child. That is the
1 minute
worst
going out to
thing
be the market on
that can
open
happen
imbalance
to a
data.
person in life. It's number one worst thing that can happen. No question in my mind. His son fell out of a window in New York City. I think he was there. The babysitter was watching him, and he fell out of a window in I think it was not a high rise, but a tall building. It was horrible. That's why he wrote Tears in Heaven. So we're getting ready for our NQ, MNQ. I fear that when the market opens, oil's going to fail. That's my fear.
Ten seconds.
Order submitted.
Market on open imbalance. S&P 500 buy side 157 million.
YM looks like it
Nasdaq
might
100
want to
buy
go
side
test the high on our
14.7 million.
magnet.
Dow 30 buy side
Order
13
submitted.
million. And Mag
Order
7 buy
submitted.
side 0.9 million.
Now the YM needs to break the new high.
Order filled.
Unbelievable. We can't buy a break all week. All week.
Rise after
Can't buy a
TSMC's
break.
Q4 profit beats estimates.
NQ, I'm not sure I want to take a second trade because it's already made the new high.
Order
Now the
filled.
YM filled our first target
Order filled.
and we got our second target, so at least that was a winner. At least that was a winner, but my MNQ is a loser, and I'm not happy about it. That's a funded account that's in big trouble. Big trouble. Big
Seeing the
frickin'
Philadelphia
trouble.
Semiconductor Index rising 3.4%.
Big frickin'
S&P
trouble.
500 opening 0.6% higher. The Nasdaq 100 up 1.1%. Seeing Nvidia up 2.1%, AMD
I'm not going to
up
do anything
3.1%,
stupid.
and Broadcom up 1.7%.
Not Peter Gabriel,
Again,
Eric
post the
Clapton.
earnings from
Eric
TSMC.
Clapton. Yeah,
Seeing
Eric Clapton's
TSMC
what I was saying.
ADRS jumping 4.8% to reach an intraday record high.
Your Eyes is a fantastic song, beautiful song. And here comes oil now for the final insult this morning. Oil will be the final insult. Look, the YM magnet was perfect almost $300. That's fine. But MNQ just could not continue, could not continue. These opens have been brutal for 2 weeks. I think the only open that people have been doing well is silver, right? How was silver this morning? And not everybody's been doing great with silver either. I definitely do not have a second trade for the NQ this morning. There was no chance to get into the short. Now the YM is giving a second short signal, but look at that bullish move. I'm not dying to jump into a short. I'm really not. It may pull back, but look, you're getting a blinking of the signal. So I'm done with the open. I'm done. I'm taking my lumps. Taking my lumps. I'm waiting on oil. All right. I'm done on YM. I'm not doing any more scalping this morning. I'm not trading in my MNQ funded account. All right. It's not blown, but it's really struggling. It's really struggling. Now we do have natural gas at 10. Natural gas at 10. And trust me when I say that's not a phenomenal room. I do have an appointment at 10:30. It's possible I could get called away before natural gas. And then we have NOPA. NOPA at 11:30. All right, NOPA at 11:30. I do want to thank Graybeard. Graybeard, who are you? Why are you not in our trade room? Why don't you come into our trade room?
Order filled.
So I don't have anything kind to say about oil. It's going to test the low. It's too late to get in. 6 ticks away, you filthy animal. Should have gotten out of that oil trade when we had the opportunity. I'm just very aggravated. Oil's done. I'm done with oil at the moment. I'm going to wait for a great magnet trade later. There's the test. Probably only should have allowed a short in oil this morning. Probably should have only allowed a short. It was too negative. Too negative. Too negative. It's still frustrating, but I feel like I've made 100 bad decisions this week. 100. Non-stop bad decision after bad decision. You ever have a week like that? 2 blown trap trades that I should not have allowed to fill in the direction they filled. Honestly. Yesterday's existing homes, gold was too negative to look for a long. It was too negative. I think, as much as we hate to say it, sometimes, not often, you've got to let the market trend determine if you're going to take a trade or not, a little bit more often than we do. I think that was my mistake this week, not succumbing to the trend over and above just taking the trade. It's complicated, though. It's not as easy as it seems or as you think, because think about it. You have an oil trade that's been doing great. Now it's struggling. When do you change? It's very difficult to time when you're going to change your behavior. It's just not easy. Francis, I don't even want to look at that screen. I feel terrible about it. I don't want to look at it. It makes me sick. Because I'm the leader and I should have taken the lead and only allowed a short oil trade this morning. And for that, I apologize to everyone in the room. That was a mistake. All right. And I'm going to end our YouTube stream with honesty and frustration this morning. Thanks for joining us. And then Graybeard, why don't you join the service, for God's sakes? Join the service. Come on. We want you here. You'd obviously fit right in. So join with us. Send me an email, help@10minutetrades.com. I'll make you a deal. I'll make you a deal. Help@10minutetrades.com. All right. Thanks for watching on YouTube. We'll be streaming one more morning tomorrow. And I'll be glad when this week is over. That's the truth. I will be glad when this week is over. So long on YouTube.